Hi everybody, thanks for joining me, Kevin, at Kevin's Upfront Opinion. So today I thought I'd talk about Nigel Farage and reform, and kind of about Laura Kuenssberg as well. Now, Laura Kuenssberg is obviously chief political commentator for the BBC, and also as a woman that irritates the hell out of me because she comes out with so much codswallop, probably about 99.9% of the time. But yesterday she posted an article on the BBC website basically talking about Nigel Farage and reform because he claims that they can take power at the next general election. Is there any reality to that? Possibly. Very possibly. My personal opinion is probably not. And a lot of people are going to come out and say to me, oh, you've got to vote reform, move away from the Conservatives, move away from Labour. We need something fresh and new. And they've got a point to that. I can't dispute with that argument. Because whether you vote Conservative or you vote Labour, and whichever one's in power, it's pretty much the same every single time. There's no real difference between the Conservatives and Labour as a general rule. When it comes to this existing government, there is. Because it's always been said the Conservatives will protect the rich. They will cut taxes and benefit rich and business. That's what they do. Labour, historically, will support the working man and the poor. That's historically. Okay. Any government before Tony Blair came to power. Now, Tony Blair was a bit of an odd one. He did to a degree. And in some ways, he also supported businesses quite heavily, especially bankers and everything. And we know what happened with the banks back in 2010 when they went kaput and they had to be bailed out by Gordon Brown and Alistair Campbell. Not Alistair Campbell, Alistair Darling. Sorry, Alistair. I'm forgetting your name wrong. Okay, so existing Labour government only support one group of people. Well, actually two. Those that work in the public sector and their union paymasters. That's all they support. The rest of us, or the rest of the people, they can go do one, basically. As far as they're concerned, they couldn't give a damn about you. And I'm sorry to say that. And Keir, you can threaten me how you like. Okay, that's reality. And that's how people will see you. So, could Nigel Farage win the next general election? Now, when you ban this question about, the problem I have is a simple one. I've always said a week in politics is a long time. Anything can happen in a week. Just got to look at when Boris Johnson got kicked out. That ran on for several days. It must have been hell for him. And that's why I say week in politics is a long time. Anything can change in a week. The reality is we're not going to have a general election for 4.5 years. So if a week's a long time, 4.5 years is like an eternity. These people that say that Keir Starmer is going to be out before the next general election, or by the end of this year, I very much doubt it. He might be out by the next general election in 4 years' time. I doubt that will happen with the way that the Labour Party run themselves. It's not like the Conservatives chucking a load of no confidence votes in the Conservative leader. You're on for a hiding. Look at Margaret Thatcher, look at Boris Johnson, look at Liz Truss. just recent ones, Conservative leaders who have failed that way. So, could he? So Nigel Farage could take power at the next election. He could. But I doubt he will. And this is why I say I doubt he will. The Labour Party controlled the left-hand side of politics. So anybody that's leaning left will generally, as a rule of thumb, vote for Labour, whether they're in England, Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland. But not really Northern Ireland. We're ignoring Northern Ireland for now. When you look at the right-hand side, this is where you have a problem. You have Reform, you have Conservatives. So you got the arch Conservatives that will vote Conservative no matter what. I look at my seat here, where I live. I live in the Gosport constituency seat, which is with their sitting MP, which is Caroline Diamond. She probably has a majority of 18,000 there. Everybody was saying she was going to lose the seat to Labour at the last election. She never. She walked it. And I said to everybody she'll walk it. There's no way she's going to lose it. And she didn't. Because there are those that will vote for the Conservatives no matter what. Same as Labour. No matter what they do, they will still vote for them. So, Reform have to tackle that because they're on the right-hand side of politics. So they've got to take all them Conservative voters and also some of those Labour voters on the left-hand side and take them to Reform. Now, as I said, it's possible that they could get enough and be able to take them seats. But I doubt it. And this is the fundamental reason. It's because Reform never come up with anything, not really, about how they're going to make people's lives better. All they talk about is immigration. You know, that's the only thing. Right, so we're going to come out of the EHCR, the European Court for Human Rights, and that's going to be able to get rid of all of them. No, it's not. Because if somebody gets on a boat and they gets into this country, they're probably not going to have a passport. So fundamental thing, you're going to have to process them. That takes 9 months. And then if you come to a decision that they can't stay here, you've got to send them back to their home country. International law, home country. Can't send them to France. If they come from, I don't know, say for instance they come from Pakistan, can't send them to France. You've got to send them back to Pakistan. But how do you know? How do you know they come from Pakistan? If they ain't got a passport, what are you going to do? Beat them until they admit where they've actually come from. And that's where his fundamental problem is. So what I want to hear from Nigel Farage and Richard Tice and a few other MPs that he has there is what would they do? Because they want to be considered as the opposition at the moment. What would they do? What are Labour doing that's wrong, and how should they change it? Because I don't really hear them sound bites. You know, they'll jump onto things that are big in, you know, for instance, taking the money off the elderly. Yeah. You expect them to do that. You know, the farmers, you expect them to do that. You know, it's going to get them a lot of publicity and everything. But what you don't hear them talking about is things on how you're going to change the country to make it a better place. How you're going to bring more growth into the country. How you're going to resolve the tax situation. You know, all these international businesses that are working in this country, operating in this country, but aren't paying their taxes. There's lots of things that they should be talking about that they're not. Housing, another one. Now, if they can address these, and it's a long list of things, you know, and that's why Kemi Baden, in a way, was right by saying, I'm not going to really talk about these things. 4.5 years into an election at the end of the day, got plenty of time. So they need to, but otherwise they need to come up with something. Because people like me are just going to keep on saying, but what would you do? And that's the problem that the Conservatives have at the moment, because they don't come out with anything for what they would do. They're not actually acting as an opposition. So for now, I'm going to wrap it up. Obviously, if you've enjoyed this video and you've managed to sit through the last 10 minutes of me rambling along, please do like and share the video. And obviously, please do follow me as well, because it helps me put out more content on a daily basis as well. But for now, thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you again a bit later.